Is there such a thing as a fan base getting a little too hyped about a young player? Because if there is, you might just be looking at the case with Will Howard right now. The way the fans have latched onto him feels almost like anointing the next great franchise quarterback before he's even taken a meaningful snap in the NFL. But then again, it's hard to blame him. Howard carries something rare, a mix of talent, personality, and an intangible magnetism that makes people lean in whenever he steps onto the field or speaks to the media. If you've been around training camp, you know there's nothing quite like the experience at Latrobe Memorial High School, where the Steelers run their nighttime practices. It's not your typical professional football environment where everything is behind closed doors or tucked away in an exclusive complex. No, this is old school in the best possible way. You're right there, just feet from the action. You hear the coaches barking instructions, the quarterbacks calling plays, and the receivers adjusting routes. You can even catch the players' reactions to what's being said from the sidelines. It's raw. It's real. And in that kind of setting, the vibe around Will Howard has been unmistakable. He's not just another rookie here trying to earn a spot on the roster. There's a genuine sense of affection from the crowd and the organization alike. And when you watch him, it's not hard to see why. Howard's got the tools, size, arm strength, mobility, all the physical traits you want from a quarterback. But what really stands out is his mindset. The guy's always been a student of the game, absorbing information and evolving in ways that show on the field. If you rewind to his time at Ohio State, the progression was clear. Week after week, game after game, you could watch him sharpen his decision-making, polish his reads, and grow more confident under center. There's a kind of quiet confidence in the way he carries himself. He's approachable, friendly, but with that undeniable spark that makes you believe he belongs at this level. It's the kind of presence that makes you root for him, even if you don't yet know exactly how far he can go. And let's be honest, at the quarterback position, hope is a precious commodity. Every team wants to find that guy, the one who can be the face of the franchise, the one who leads the team through thick and thin. Howard's early camp impressions have made it easy for fans to start dreaming, but here's where it gets complicated. As much as the excitement is real, and as much as Howard shows flashes of brilliance, there's a big difference between being talented and being ready. The Steelers, like any smart organization, aren't rushing him. They're layering him in experience, letting him learn the pro game at his own pace. The NFL game isn't college ball. The windows are tighter, the defenders faster, and the mental demands way higher. And from what you see in practice, Howard still has areas where he needs to sharpen his skills. The kind of throws he needs to make consistently at this level. The quick releases into tight windows, the subtle adjustments in the pocket. Those don't come overnight. There's an important lesson to remember here. Fans often want to rush to judgment, imagining that if the starting quarterback were hurt or traded, a rookie like Howard would be ready to step in and light things up immediately. But the reality is usually messier. If you look at the Steelers' depth chart, there's Aaron Rodgers, a living legend with 2 decades of experience, and Mason Rudolph, a veteran who's been in the system. Howard's not here to jump over those guys just yet. He's here to learn, to grind, and to develop. The patience might be tough for the fan base, especially when Howard is clearly the future, but it's necessary. What's really interesting is watching Howard's progression in camp. He's not just standing still. Every practice, you can see a little more zip on his throws, a bit more confidence in his footwork. He's soaking in the lessons from vets like Rodgers, who has openly talked about the need to take risk in practice, to push boundaries and see where adjustments need to be made. That's a crucial part of growth. Rodgers himself mentioned how camp is a time to experiment, to try throws that might not always be perfect, so you can get better when the games really count. Howard seems to be embracing that philosophy, which bodes well for his future. Of course, it's impossible to talk about Howard without comparing him, even if just subconsciously, to the best. He's not Aaron Rodgers yet. Nobody expects that overnight. But the trajectory is what matters. Coaches like Mike Tomlin talk about a player's arrow pointing upward, and that's exactly what you're seeing with Howard. There's a hunger in him, a drive to improve, to elevate his game beyond what he showed in college. Still, the caution signs are there. It's not about physical ability. Howard can launch the ball downfield with power. What he needs to work on is placing those balls with precision into windows that are closing fast. He's got to learn to thread the needle under pressure, to trust his mechanics, and to read defenses the way the pros do. That's the kind of growth that separates a developmental quarterback from a franchise cornerstone. The fans' love for him is understandable and honestly exciting to witness, but it's important not to get ahead of the curve. The NFL is brutal, and even the most gifted rookies need time to adjust. That's the reality. Howard's got all the ingredients to be special, but the recipe takes time to perfect. In the meantime, watching him in that intimate training camp setting at Latrobe is a reminder of how football can still feel personal, close, and connected to the community. The Steelers have built a culture where fans get to see the process, hear the chatter, and witness the growth firsthand. It's an old school approach that creates a bond between players and supporters that you don't see everywhere in professional sports anymore. And speaking of the bigger picture, this kind of access helps temper the hype. You get to see the good, the bad, and the in-between moments that make football such a compelling sport. Watching Howard take reps with the veterans, hearing the coach's feedback, and seeing the subtle adjustments he makes day by day, all of that paints a fuller picture than just highlight reels and sound bites. In that way, Howard's journey is a perfect microcosm of what it means to develop into an NFL quarterback. It's messy, it's gradual, and it demands resilience. The fans who show up to those nighttime practices at Latrobe get to witness the story as it unfolds, chapter by chapter. So while the excitement might feel like it's at a fever pitch, there's also a quiet understanding that this is a marathon, not a sprint. Howard's got the talent, the character, and the work ethic to make it. The rest is just time and football telling the story. Moving deeper into this story, it's impossible to ignore the quarterback room itself. It's a mix of experience, legacy, and potential that adds layers to what Howard is facing every single day. On one end, you have Aaron Rodgers, a name that almost speaks for itself in the NFL. Rodgers isn't just a Hall of Fame talent. He's a walking encyclopedia of quarterback wisdom. A guy whose career has been built on precision, decision-making, and that uncanny ability to rise in the biggest moments. Then there's Mason Rudolph, the longtime Steelers backup with a solid professional resume, the kind of player who understands the system and can provide veteran presence even if he's not expected to be the guy moving forward. Into this environment steps Will Howard, the young rookie with all the promise in the world, but still very much a work in progress. This mix creates a fascinating dynamic. For Howard, it means every day is an education. There's no shortcut to sitting next to Rodgers, watching how he studies film, how he commands the huddle, how he reads defenses pre and post snap, and how he throws the ball with a level of anticipation. And accuracy, that's nearly unmatched. Rodgers' presence is both a blessing and a challenge. It's a blessing because Howard can soak in all of that knowledge, learn the nuances of the pro game, and develop under one of the greatest minds at the position. But it's also a challenge because Rodgers sets a standard that's intimidating for any rookie. You can't help but compare, and for fans hungry for immediate results, that comparison sometimes leads to unrealistic expectations. What Howard needs right now, and what the Steelers seem intent on providing, is time. Time to learn, time to make mistakes, and time to grow into the kind of quarterback who can handle the pressures of starting in the NFL. The camp scenes offer a glimpse into this process. Watching Howard go through reps, you see a young man who is thoughtful, respectful, and focused, but you also see moments where he hesitates or plays it safe, which is natural for a rookie adjusting to a much faster, more complex game. It's a delicate balance. You want him to push the limits and take risks in practice, but you also want him to build a foundation of consistent mechanics and sound decision making. But before we dive in, don't forget to subscribe to Steelers Nation Central and hit the like button on this video. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on the Pittsburgh Steelers, and don't forget to share your thoughts on the news in the comments below. Whispers have been circulating in the NFL world about a seismic shift in defensive power, and the Pittsburgh Steelers may be at the epicenter of this brewing storm. Reports suggest that the Steelers are on the verge of sealing a blockbuster deal with none other than Aaron Donald, one of the most dominant defensive tackles in recent history. Imagine the possibilities if this rumor proves true. Pittsburgh's defense could instantly transform into a nightmare for opposing offenses. Darnold, a 3-time Defensive Player of the Year, is known for his relentless pressure on quarterbacks and his ability to disrupt plays in the backfield, qualities that perfectly align with the Steelers' long-standing defensive tradition. Speculation is rife that the team's brass, eager to reclaim their historic dominance on defense, are pulling out all the stops to secure his signature. The implications for the AFC North and the league at large would be profound. With Darnold anchoring the defensive line, the Steelers could see their pass rush elevate to an elite level, a weapon that has been somewhat inconsistent in recent seasons. Such a move might also inspire a domino effect, potentially attracting other top-tier defensive talents who want to play alongside a superstar like Darnold. Fans and analysts alike are holding their breath as the situation unfolds, eager to see if this dream scenario will come to fruition and reshape the Steelers' defensive identity. Adding Aaron Donald to the Steelers roster would not merely be a signing, it would be a declaration of intent, signaling that the franchise is serious about returning to the pinnacle of NFL defense. The Steelers have a storied history of legendary defenses, from the Steel Curtain of the 1970s to the formidable units that powered their 6 Super Bowl titles. Donald's arrival could herald the dawn of a new era, blending his extraordinary talent with Pittsburgh's gritty, hard-nosed football culture. Rumors are swirling about how this acquisition could influence the team's defensive scheme. Coordinator Keith Butler might tailor his strategies to maximize Donald's disruptive capabilities, potentially increasing blitz packages and stifling opponents' run games. This could create an environment where opposing quarterbacks have mere moments to find an open receiver, drastically reducing offensive efficiency across the board. Moreover, Donald's leadership and experience might elevate younger players on the roster, fostering a culture of excellence and accountability. Speculation also suggests that the Steelers could leverage this move to negotiate future contracts and trades, using the allure of playing alongside Donald to bolster their defense further. As the NFL offseason progresses, this potential deal stands as a tantalizing possibility that could redefine the competitive landscape for years to come. The impact of Aaron Donald joining the Steelers extends beyond the defensive line, stirring conversations about how the entire team might evolve strategically and culturally. His presence could shift the team's balance, prompting offensive coordinators to adopt more aggressive tactics, knowing the defense can hold its ground. Analysts suggest that with Donald clogging running lanes and collapsing pockets, opposing offenses might be forced into quicker passes or more conservative play calling, essentially playing into the Steelers' hands. The ripple effect could also energize the Steelers' secondary, as increased pressure up front often leads to more turnovers and interceptions. Off the field, Donald's reputation as a relentless competitor and a consummate professional could inject a new level of intensity and discipline into the locker room. Rumors even hint at possible shifts in team dynamics, with Donald potentially becoming a central figure in motivating teammates and setting higher standards. Media speculation abounds on whether this acquisition could finally help the Steelers overcome their recent playoff frustrations, as the team has struggled to make deep postseason runs. If the deal materializes, it may not only revitalize the defense, but could also boost the overall morale and confidence of the squad. For a franchise with such a rich defensive heritage, adding Donald might symbolize a full circle moment, a resurgence of Pittsburgh as a defensive powerhouse on the national stage. Beyond the immediate tactical advantages, the potential signing of Aaron Donald by the Steelers is generating buzz about how this move might influence the broader NFL landscape. The Steelers acquiring such a high-profile defensive star could trigger a shift in how other teams approach free agency and roster building, especially on defense. Rivals in the AFC North like the Baltimore Ravens and Cleveland Browns would undoubtedly take notice, potentially igniting a competitive arms race to bolster their own defenses in response. League insiders speculate that Donald's contract and role could set new benchmarks for defensive players in terms of salary and on-field responsibilities, possibly influencing negotiations across the board. This rumor alone has sparked debates. among fans and commentators about the Steelers' renewed ambitions and how they might disrupt the current balance of power in the league. Some suggest that if Donald joins Pittsburgh, it could lead to a revival of the Steelers' identity as a team that wins with physicality and defensive dominance, contrasting with the pass-heavy, offense-centric trends seen elsewhere. This narrative, swirling with speculation and anticipation, hints at a fascinating off-season storyline with ripple effects reaching far beyond Heinz Field. Whether this deal becomes reality or remains a tantalizing what-if, it has certainly reignited conversations about the future of defense in the NFL and the Steelers' role in shaping it. Amidst all this speculation, one cannot overlook the immense excitement and expectations brewing among the Steelers fan base and NFL observers. Social media buzzes with posts debating the potential impact of Aaron Donald in black and gold, with fans dreaming of a defense that can stifle even the most potent offenses in the league. The rumor alone has injected renewed hope into a fan base, hungry for a return to championship glory. Conversations revolve around how Donald's presence might lift key players like TJ Watt and Minkah Fitzpatrick, creating a fearsome defensive unit bristling with talent and tenacity. Some voices caution that while the signing could be transformative, it also raises questions about salary cap management and team chemistry, crucial factors in sustaining success. Pundits weigh in on how the Steelers front office will navigate these challenges while integrating such a dominant personality into the locker room. The atmosphere is electric with possibilities, as supporters envision a defense that can dictate the pace of games and dominate opponents physically and mentally. If this rumor crystallizes into a deal, the Steelers won't just be signing a player, and they'll be crafting a narrative of resurgence, resilience, and relentless pursuit of excellence that echoes their illustrious past and promises a thrilling future. Until then, the NFL world watches and waits, caught up in the tantalizing buzz surrounding what could be one of the most game-changing moves of the decade. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the Pittsburgh Steelers, make sure to subscribe to Steelers Nation Central and give this video a like. We always look forward to hearing your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.